Now, when we talk about Islamic fundamentalist terror, we ask who the hate preachers are. Who's radicalising them? We need to start asking those questions about far-right violence.
British journalist and Labour Party activist Owen Jones was attacked by far right-wing extremists on his birthday. He told the BBC he had left the pub with his friends at about 2 o'clock in the morning when a group of men came out of the venue and began kicking and punching him. Police appealed for information to help identify 4 male suspects who hurt Mr. Jones, as well as assaulting his friends when they tried to intervene. Detective Sergeant Scott Barefoot said this was a completely senseless attack on a man simply enjoying a night out with friends. We are looking into the circumstances of this incident, including if it was a hate crime, he said. Although Mr. Jones only sustained minor injuries to his back, arm, and head, Barefoot said the effects of becoming a victim of such an attack can continue when any injuries have healed. Now, the reason why it's being investigated as a potential hate crime is that Owen Jones is gay, so it would make sense that this may be a potential hate crime as well. But following the attack, Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn tweeted out, "I send my solidarity to Owen Jones and his friends who were attacked last night. Owen believes it was politically motivated, and we know the far right is on the march in our country. An attack on a journalist is an attack on free speech and our fundamental values." Now, in a minute here, I'm going to get into a little more data on the rise of right-wing extremism. But first, I want to show this clip of Owen Jones after the attack.
Firstly, I'm absolutely fine. But this weekend, whilst I was celebrating my birthday with my friends, I was on the receiving end of a premeditated, targeted attack. I was physically assaulted, and my friends trying to protect me were also assaulted. Over the last year, I've been on the receiving end of a very deliberate and systematic campaign by far-right activists. Now, it's pretty clear why I'm a hate figure to these people. I'm their antithesis. I'm gay, I'm a socialist, I'm anti-racist, I'm anti-fascist, and I'm proudly part of the anti-fascist movement. But I don't want this to be about me. Well, I'm a white guy with a media platform, and there are so many others in this country and elsewhere, members of minorities, who are being attacked similarly by far-right thugs without getting headlines, without getting interviews. The far-right is on the rise. It's a growing menace. It's its strongest now since any point since the war, emboldened by the likes of Donald Trump and the rise of right-wing populist movements. And we can see far-right violence, whether it be the assassination by a far-right terrorist of the Labour MP Joe Cox, the attempted far-right murder of the Labour MP Rosie Cooper, the Finsbury attack, and numerous other far-right terrorist attacks, particularly in the United States, targeting Muslims, migrants, Jewish people, and opponents of fascism. Now, when we talk about Islamic fundamentalist terror, we ask who the hate preachers are. Who's radicalising them? We need to start asking those questions about far-right violence. Actions have consequences. And what we are seeing is the radicalisation of far-right extremism by mainstream politicians and mainstream media outlets. Now, we can't be scared by the far right. We've defeated them before, and they will be defeated again. But we can't just call out examples of far right thuggery and pretend they exist in a vacuum, because they don't.
So Owen Jones makes a number of good points here. I mean, I like that he brings up how these sorts of attacks happen on people all the time, but they don't have a media platform like he does, so you don't really hear about them. And that these attacks are not happening in a vacuum, and that there are political leaders all across the globe that are helping to fuel these sorts of attacks. So, not only is right-wing violence on the rise, but all of the extremist killings in the U.S. in 2018 had links to right-wing extremism. And this is going on while overall crime rates continue to decline. So hate crime rising in 30 U.S. cities as overall crime rates decline, report finds. 5th consecutive rise and steepest since 2015, and trend continues in 2019 as white supremacist homicides are also increased. And data from the Anti-Defamation League shows that the vast majority of domestic extremist-related killings over the past decade are from right-wing extremists, 73.3%, compared to just 3.2% for left-wing extremism and 23.4% for Islamic extremism. Yet, where has the media focus been over the past 10 years? It's been on Islamic extremism. So that, in combination with Trump and defunding the investigations into right-wing extremism, defunding organizations that look to prevent right-wing terrorism and white nationalism. I've done stories on that before. The combination of all of this, the media failure, the government failure, has led to this. And by the way, not just government failure under Trump, but also under Obama. Obama didn't put enough of a focus on right-wing extremism either, but Trump obviously continued it to a much higher degree. So there needs to be a total cultural shift on how we look at these issues, on how we look at extremism. And I think it is beginning to change. I mean, I'm noticing it especially this year after a number of attacks. I'm noticing that there is now more of a focus on white nationalism, white supremacy than there was in the past, and Trump's connections to that as well. So the hope is that this will improve somewhat, though it's kind of hard to see anything changing, in the short term.